Okay, well here we are here at the first video episode, whatever. And we are gonna be talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake today and their beat. So anybody who I explained this in the last video, but I'm jumping into the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef at the end of October. Um because I quit YouTube for like 2 years and I'm back now. But I felt before I even got started with anything else, any other topics, I was like, that's the topic that I definitely need to address. Like there's no way for me to like scoot around that and just be like, oh, it happened. It's months old. I can't talk about it. No, no, no. Y'all know the implications of that beef. Y'all know what the implications of that beef are for me as a hip hop fan. So I feel, and I also feel like I had like a front row seat the whole time, and I feel like I have a fun perspective on it, and I feel like I'm gonna provide some insightful shit because I'm very dedicated to hip hop, and if you guys don't know what this channel has been about for years now, and I'm also very dedicated to both of these rappers. I love Kendrick. He's my favorite rapper of all time. He's my goat. And I like Drake on occasion. I mostly don't like his records and I don't like his persona or anything in real life, but he got some good songs here and there. Um, but overall, this beef was just like a dream come true, and it was. I feel like that's a miscategorization of what it really is to call it a dream come true because it's not all bliss. It's not all bliss. It's a lot of it's ugly and bad. But we're gonna talk about it today. And I could give context. I could do all that, but I've decided I'm just gonna start with like the events, right? Because I don't because this beef snapped me back into being a hip hop head. When it happened, I was not listening to hip hop. And then the Future record drop and everything changed. So I don't really have that angle on it. So today we're gonna start where like that starts, and I'm gonna give context and backstory as I go through, kind of. So March. I'm not gonna give dates. It's March 2024, right? Um, Future and Metro are about to drop their new record. We Don't Trust You. Everybody hyped about it. It got hidden features. It crazy. One of them hidden features, Kendrick Lamar. And my bad for hitting the mic, but Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick Lamar hop on the song and say, fuck sneak dissing, first person shooter. I hope that come with 3 switches. First person shooter being the J. Cole Drake song that came out last year. And him saying like y'all should have had a third beat because I'm about to come in. And then he followed that up by going, motherfuck the big three, it's just big me. Kendrick. So, I'm gonna back this up just a tad bit because it's a little loud. So basically, what all of this meant in the moment was like to me, I had no idea anything like this was gonna happen. I actually didn't listen to "We Don't Trust You" the night it came out. I was doing something else, but I woke up and I like look at my feed and like Rap TV posts Kendrick Lamar. This is Drake and J. Cole on Future record, and I was like, what the fuck happened? And I went and listened to the record, and I was like, holy fuck. Because, like, at first, I was like, dissing Drake, okay, that's not weird for Kendrick. He's gone at Drake before. And then I was like, dissing Cole, though, that's weird. And then I read the lines, and I was like, oh, man, bro, he back. And, like, the game was. Fuck, sorry. I had to burp. The game was in fucking disarray after that verse. It was such a wild like couple of days after that, or a couple of weeks to be honest, because no one knew how to react to that. Nothing in hip hop like that has happened in a long time, and it was just very out of the blue. Just Kendrick hopping on a record and hating like that, and at first it was like, you know, it was surreal. But the very initial thing was just like the discussion in hip hop went wild. People were comparing Drake, people were comparing Kendrick, people were comparing Cole. The question of who's the big three, and that's a big conversation throughout the whole beef. But the bigger thing about this diss was J. Cole barely got it because he just said fuck the big three in the first person shooter line. Drake though, um, Drake got the worst of it even in the initial diss. Kendrick doubled down more on the beef or on the disses. He did the Prince outlive Mike Jack, and he did the what was that one line? I'm totally forgetting it. Oh, for all your dogs getting buried, that's okay with all these nines. He's gonna see Pet Cemetery. He did all those lines, So he was clearly targeting Drake mostly. So I didn't think Cole was going to respond at first. I was sitting there like, Drake got to respond. He got to. But I was being patient with Drake because Drake was on tour at the moment. And I was like, I understand. He didn't think this shit was going to happen. My boy was talking about being in retirement mode after the fucking For All the Dogs album. So that's what I thought he was going into with It's All a Blur at the end of that tour, at least. But after that came out, it was like, and I remember Rick Ross going on a story and posting some. I remember The Weeknd going on a story and posting some. And who's the other one? Oh, yeah, Future. Future was on the record in the intro dissing Drake. So it was just like all these people who had hated Drake and continue to hate Drake hopping on a record and being like, yeah, we hate Drake. And it was a crazy moment. But that moment turned into just a lot of tension. And that all got released, I think it was a week or two later when J. Cole spun the block. My bad, my phone went off. J. Cole decided to hop on a mixtape called Might Delete Later, and he dissed Drake on, or he dissed Kendrick on that. I don't know why I said Drake. And his diss wasn't like, it wasn't, I don't know how to, because I was about to say it wasn't bad, but like it was kind of bad. It was definitely not preferable. uh, but what he did was he he basically insulted Kendrick's catalog, going like, your first one's a classic, your second one was, or your last one was tragic, your second one was a sleeper, but they gassed it, which was just a crazy thing for J. Cole to say about To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, To Pimp a Butterfly boring, dog? What, you think To Pimp a Butterfly boring? No way. J. Cole like loved Kendrick music. We notice. So initially when he said it, I was like, I don't buy it. I don't think he mean any of that. And there was a part of me that was like, well, it's hip hop and it's competition, so you say what you say. But I was also like, well, these aren't real narratives. Nobody thinks To Pimp a Butterfly is a boring record. Nobody thinks that Mr. Morale's really that tragic. I mean, I know Drake fans think it's tragic, but anybody who's listened to that record and like knows Kendrick knows it's a great piece of work from him. So I was just looking at it thinking like, nah, that's not accurate to what happened at all. But the part that got really bad, and the part that got really like really upped the tension, was when he went up on stage and apologized for it. And that was when the Kendrick victory was like so incredibly obvious to me. Like, at least in the moment, like he hopped on stage and fully backtracked from all the distance and said he was going to delete it and remove it from social media. Now, I didn't think Cole could stand on those lines, and I thought he was going to get murdered just by the virtue of who Kendrick is. I think Kendrick probably has a lot more to say mean about Cole than Cole has to say about Kendrick. I just know that's how the relationship's been. That's how it is musically. So I didn't think really anything was going to happen on that regard. But Kendrick Kendrick didn't have to say anything to make him drop out, which makes sense considering the status of those two rappers' relationship. I really hope they friends, because I hope they at least work together at some point, because man, I need them as a duo again. It's barely happened, but it's been too long. But anyway, after all that, was it? Oh yeah, well, We Still Don't Trust You dropped, which had ASAP Rocky dissing Drake, and it had The Weeknd dissing Drake. Um, but when was that the day after We Still Don't Trust You? Drake put out Push Ups, but Push Ups was released really weirdly. Um, Push Ups was really okay. I'm real quick gonna grab my water. Actually, it's on the other side of here. And since these videos are unedited, this is in the video. But it's fine. We're fine. Okay, I'm gonna put it actually on the floor. Anyway, so push-ups, right? So Drake leaked push-ups. I think, like, how did he do it? He leaked it. Well, okay. What happened first was, oh, my bad. I went too close to the microphone. This microphone is super sensitive, so I might get a new one for these videos. He leaked. So all these news publications posted uh like this Drake's new diss track against Kendrick leaked, and everybody was like, "Is this real? Is this actually what he's saying?" And then it fully leaked, and Drake then took credit for it. But there were also like lines that changed and things that weren't included in the final version, and I was sitting there like, "Oh wow, he really." What I think he did personally was I think Drake leaked the song to all the news publications to see how some of those lines would fare, because I think he had some line about Rick Ross and Diddy on it that he didn't end up including in the final version. But neither here nor there. That's kind of what was going on in that song. Um, that's at least how the song was released, and he didn't end up releasing it fully on streaming for another week, which I just found to be lazy of him. But regardless, the diss track was uh shocking. I mean, what else did he say in that song? He had the fucking oh yeah, he said his shoes were small. Low key, we're gonna look up all of this on Genius. So I'm gonna just go through the lyrics of the songs, because now we're getting to the diss tracks. Like, it's no longer just, like that and whatever the, what was it, 7 minute drill. I will also say about that J. Cole record. That's definitely like the worst thing Cole has put out since probably since the OG mixtapes. I don't know if I like it less than KOD though, because KOD's kind of boring, but it's not horrible. My Deleted Letter is not like a worst record of the year, but it's not great. Um, it's definitely not great. Let's see what we got here. All right. Um, all right. So I'm gonna go through. I'm just gonna. I'm kind of reading through these lyrics right here, and I just kind of want to mention which ones are important. Like that, I can never be your number one fan. Your first number one, I had to put it in your hand, because like no one getting bigger numbers than Drake. And that was exactly the approach I wanted him to take on push-ups. I was like, you have this moment, because Kendrick didn't go hard on like that. He just threw some minor shots. So I was like, Drake, you got this moment to be like, oh yeah, I'm beating all you guys numbers wise. And he's totally right. Saying I'm the hit maker y'all depend on is like, he not wrong. And I think that doesn't matter to Kendrick, and he explains that doesn't matter. But for other rappers, it does matter, because being around Drake means you making money. And let's be real. I don't think that Rick Ross and Future and honestly probably The Weeknd, but The Weeknd don't need Drake really, because he bigger than Drake on his own anyway. But some of the dudes that were beefing with Drake, it's like they're they still getting money. Like if they get a song with Drake, it doesn't really matter if they hate him, because they're gonna make a bunch of money off of it, and that's the only way Future's got a number one. I like the whole drop and give me 50 for being top dogs splits. I thought that was a clever line. I will say the fucking what's the line? The size 7 line. It was like it was funny. It ended up looking really dumb once Euphoria came out, and just once this beef got really serious, but it was funny in the moment. Um, the way you doing splits fit your pants might rip is like the funniest line. I have to say. Also, I will say my favorite diss. I think it might be one of the best disses he ever does against Kendrick. This is my favorite song against him. I mean, against Kendrick diss wise. Not to say Family Matters isn't Family Matters, but like I like the approach he took with this song. He had a good time, and this was the only moment in the beef where I really felt like Drake had the upper hand, and he was the one that was getting more attention and more praise. The fucking Maroon 5 need a verse. You better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties. That's like that was such a good point. Being like, he's so anti. Like he's such a. I don't really know if I can comment on like the racial stuff in this beef, and I'm gonna avoid it to the best I can, without kind of ruining like the context that has mattered here. But um, saying that he's like authentically black, and then hopping on white people songs, not a bad take, especially considering like Taylor ain't an artist or anything. Maroon 5 ain't an artist. He doing it for paychecks. He doing it for money, and he not wrong for that. So it's a little bit, when Kendrick is like, I don't do this for money. It's a little bit like, well, you have done it for money, definitely. Maybe not overall though, because you would release music that was capitalizing on the possible success you could have as a rapper. Um, I hate that you. Okay, I don't hate it, but it's a dumb line. The you ain't in no big three. SZA got you wiped down. Travis got you wiped down. Savage got you wiped down. The only person in that group that makes sense is Travis. And let's be real here. So SZA, I don't know why he bringing up SZA. We're talking about rap music. Big three does not mean in all of music. What the fuck you bringing up SZA for? If we bring up SZA, we might as well bring up Taylor Swift. So I get SZA's a little closer to hip hop than Taylor Swift, but because she's not a hip hop artist. Um, Fucking Travis, yeah, Travis bigger than Kendrick, but he not better than Kendrick. And part of the thing with the big three conversation was like, no, these are the three biggest rappers that are like commercially, you know, successful, but they're also like lyrically sharp. You know, they're competition. Um, I don't. SZA obviously is not. Travis isn't really either because he's not really a rapper. He makes rap music, you know, but he's not an MC or anything. He's not gonna win a rap battle. And Savage is not bigger than Kendrick to any degree. So I'm just that set of lines is dumb. I just didn't think he did that very well. Um, what the fuck is this, a 20v1? That's a good line. Also, what's a prince to a son? What's the prince to a king? He a son is just a clever line. Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums. We're gonna talk about that one. He come at the weekend. He come at Rick Ross. He come at everybody. um, he also do this the worst line in the song because I think it really. There's this line too where he says, "I don't care what Cole think, that dot shit was weak as fuck." I always hated that line because I thought him coming at Cole was like completely out of line and like a dumb moment in this beef, especially when like he was on Cole's side just a minute ago. Um, Fucking what was the um? There's a specific line in this song that I needed to point out. I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney. With that, we all know why that line dumb now, but in the moment it was really dumb. I'm not even gonna dive into Taylor Made freestyle. I don't. It was a troll song. It was stupid, but that's the next step in this beef because Kendrick can't respond immediately. You know, Push Ups was out. Kendrick was quiet, and I think that was purposeful. I think he was really trying to get at Drake by not responding because we all knew he was gonna respond, but he was looking at Drake like, "Nah, let me take my time." And Drake was sitting there tweaking out, being like, um, "Tell that boy to drop, but he won't. He knows better." There was some crazy shit being said like, "You better have a quintuple entendre." He was like really putting all of his eggs in that basket for no reason. Um, the tailor-made freestyle is like the worst thing in the beef, though. Actually, it's not, but it's bad because one, using AI to recreate Tupac and Snoop is just like disrespectful and stupid as fuck. I hate that as a hip hop head. I hate that Drake finds that acceptable. I think it proves a lot about what Kendrick was trying to say, and he didn't even have to say anything to Drake for him to prove that. So to some extent, a lot of the beef's loss, in my opinion, is Drake's fault, but I really want to go into why I think this beef goes the way it does. Um. Anyway, Taylor made freestyle and getting taken down because the Tupac estate didn't like it, which is pretty valid of the Tupac estate because that was really whack of them. But um, I guess we're at Euphoria now. I don't really know if anything else happened um on that Drake little period of time. Other than the TaylorMade getting taken down. I took the whole TaylorMade freestyle as another win for Kendrick. So Kendrick obviously won against Cole, and the amount of fucking aura you get for like, I shouldn't say aura in a serious context. That's stupid. The amount, the amount of just how epic, how incredible it is that the fact that Kendrick won a beef with a dude without having to do anything, and it took him like a day. It was crazy. Anyway, Euphoria. So you wake up in the morning, right? So I think it was like 8 a.m. for me, maybe 9 a.m. I forget. There was a very specific time he released the song actually that was meaningful, but I forget when. I'm not gonna dive too deep into that stuff. I'm not what's the dirt or anything, because I'm also not a racist. But he hops on. So you wake up in the morning and you just see Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar, and everybody's like, "This response, it's here," and he has just like a definition on there, but it got some meaning into it too. That cover art with the like they had nearly a week to recover from Tuesday's series of victories and like the euphoria of it. So it was like all these hidden messages in there. Do I go through every fucking line in this song? This intro part I didn't get when I first heard it. I was kind of like, what is he talking about here? Um, but now I like all of it makes sense, you know. Uh, you heard I the fabricating family stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale turned out to be so real. You're not a rapper, you a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tell me he'll figure shit out, but Fubu never been in your collection. Also the fucking I make music that electrify him, you make music that pacify him. I could double down on that line, but spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. No one knew what that line meant when it dropped, but after listening to it like twice, people were like, "Holy fuck, what was he? What the fuck did he just say there?" Um, Part two, that first beat is fucking crazy. I'm so the horns come in, it's crazy. Um, where do I want to start with this song though? Because this song is insane, dude. This is like I don't want to dive into my overall thoughts of the song quite yet, but everybody want to be demon until they get shit by a throwaway reference to like you want to be future. Um, this fucking have you ever played? Have you ever? He was because Kendrick hops on the beat and he dissed Drake, but it's not forward. Like it's not like what Drake was doing, where if you listen to push-ups, you catch everything the first time you hear it. When Kendrick was hopping on a record, he was like he was throwing shots that you had to listen to it again and be like, oh, I got what he was saying there. And it was like the song just got like better and better as the time. Like I remember it dropped and people were like, that was crazy. But there was a few people that were like, that was weak as fuck. And then over the next like hour, it was like, oh my god, dude, that was fucking crazy what he just said. And then let's see, where do we go from there? Have you ever played 500,000 to an open case? The crazy call out. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I park his son. um, the very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I'll show you I learned from those mistakes. That set of lines is just like, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Um, I don't need to dive into it. It's beautiful. Somebody that told me that you got a ring on God, I'm ready to double the weight. And this is the thing about this song. After the first like 30 seconds of him rapping, he fucking locks in. Right when he goes, I hate when I rap, I talk about guns, there's somebody that once he goes there, he just locks in for the rest of this beat. And let's see, somebody told me that you had a ring on God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian make Pac turn in his grave. My God. Because like I said, Drake hopping on a beat and using an AI Tupac shot himself in the foot so bad, so early in the beef, such a bad move. There's so many moments in the beef where he shoots himself really quickly. Um, what is it? The brains. I hurt your feelings. You don't work with me anymore. Okay. Um, it's three goats left, and I see two of them kissing and hugging on stage. And then the fucking I love them both. And in 8 bars, I'll explain that phrase. Explain that phrase. And then in 8 bars, he very much explains that phrase with the, yeah, Colin Aubrey, no, I'm a selfish brother. The crown is heavy. I pray they my friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. Everybody love that line. This is my favorite line. Actually, I don't know if it is my favorite line, but fuck all that pushing P. I gotta say it like him. Fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. I can't do it nearly as well as him, but like push a T. That fuck that my voice cracked from that. That's so tough though. So tough. And then he's Terrence Thornham, Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. Oh my god, this song was just like, because you knew Kendrick could murder someone on a beat, but you just didn't know it like that yet. And then he do it, and it's just, whoa. Um, we ain't gotta get personal. This is a friendly fate. You should keep it that way. I know some shit about brothers that make gonna wanna look like a. And then I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct. We hate the bitches you. Okay, whatever. But that, oh my god. And then I'm with the culture feeling. Like at this verse, he just keep. It's iconic line after iconic line, iconic this after iconic this. So to me, in a performance factor, this is like the best diss track ever made. Like I think so. It's incredible. I think it makes sense that this is like what I'm like. I'm in love with this song, but yeah, y'all get that. How many fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? Um, where are we gonna go? What's the next? Oh yeah, then he hop on, and he also do the he remove his black card. That's crazy. I when I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. It's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Is the funniest line in the beef. No, it's not. It will get to funnier lines, but uh, also the cease and desist on like that. If that happened, that's crazy. Um, why would I call around? Oh yeah. That's how shit I got a son to raise, but I can see you and know nothing about that. That was a necessary line in this diss track, but that part is crazy. And a 20v1, it's a 1v20. If I gotta smack people that right, which is one of the best flips in the beef. Um, I think I've covered most of what I feel in this diss track, except for him being like, "Yo, I'm warning you, don't come in." And when he put out Euphoria, the way he talks about this in the beef, he's like, I can predict your angles. And he literally does. He like foretells shit that Drake is going to come at. And it proves to be very real. But also that line back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record. Leads to the next track, and I mean, if I'm a Kendrick fan, so I think my perspective on this song makes sense. This is like the most underrated song though in the whole beef. Um, fucking 616 in LA. He dropped this song exclusively on Instagram because Taylor Made Freestyle was exclusively on Instagram, and he was looking at Drake and being like, "Yo, I can be on your court. I can play your game, your little social media game." Because this whole beef, Drake is on social media posting memes. Kendrick ain't even on socials. Um, I don't need to go through all the bars in this first verse because if I don't know if you've seen What's the Dirt's video on this. If everything he say is true, this first verse is one of the most loaded pieces in this whole beef. But the rapping on this song is incredible. Um, it's honestly some of the best rapping I think he's ever done, and a lot of people agree on that. But uh, wherever this whole first verse, he's definitely rapping from his perspective, though. Um, obviously he switches back when he goes, God, my confession is yours, but like before that he rapping from Drake's perspective. um the big thing with this beef was him like praying, this not this beef, this song was him like praying, being like, listen, God, I know I need you to forgive me, I'll find myself on my lowest, but the industry cooked and I gotta go in. um and then he go on this whole verse where he like even act look compromised. Let's the layers are being peeled back, and Kendrick comes off like a fucking supervillain in this beef, especially in the moment before we knew everything. When you heard him in this song talking about all this shit and then going like, "Have you ever? Are you ready to play? Have you ever? Have you ever thought OVO was working for me?" It was like, huh? What? OVO working for what? Like, it just the beef got so much, it was so much different than I thought it was going to be like, because I really thought it was for the competition of hip hop, and I don't know why I was stupid enough to think that. But once Kendrick hopped on the track, I was like, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I was like, I thought about that, and I was like, I think this beef is about something different. Euphoria definitely proved that there's something else to this beef, but it was just like I was looking around and being like, oh my god, dude, it's so crazy with the moves Kendrick was pulling, how quickly it was going down. Um, Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. Can't Tusi slide up, but this one is just to resurface. Um, and this was on Friday, right? So Euphoria, I think, dropped on Tuesday, April 30th. And then this dropped on Friday, May 2nd, I think. By the way, I was graduating high school when all this happened, so it was the best graduation month of my life. Um, 616 in LA is the greatest song like ever, though, to not be on Spotify. If I'm being honest, that song is so good and I need it to be on Spotify. Anyway, let's get into the, I know there's like the Buried Alive thing or whatever that Drake did, but I don't care about that. I don't even remember it coming out during the beef, so maybe I wasn't as locked in as I pretended to be. But I remember all this in the moment. This moment I wasn't here for, but we were here at the moment for the beef, and I did not think. Oh, my bad, peaked again. I did not think this beef was gonna go like this fast. You know, I thought things were gonna be tame. I thought things were gonna be chill. I thought this was for the competition of hip hop. I mean, I knew it was gonna be vicious. I knew it was gonna be crazy, but I didn't know. I didn't know this would happen. No one knew this would happen, but this did happen. After Kendrick went back to back, it was like people were like, "Yeah, Kendrick got Drake. You have to respond." Like that was brutal. Euphoria, mean as fuck. 616, he peeling secrets about you. It's getting bad. Um, and I don't. How much am I gonna go through bar for Family Matters? We're now at the like accusation point. This is when the beef gets like to the crazy point that I went to for no reason. 10 p.m. on that Friday night, May 3rd, though, he dropped a music video. Family Matters. He got the Good Kid, Mad City van and a crushing machine. He got a whole music video, and he got a 7-minute song with 3 beats. Now, I have to say to Drake's credit, for 7 minutes, congratulations, but we'll get into this. He obviously bring up that sample that he ended the first track with. Um, he started off by shouting out a bunch of West Coast rappers. This is really gonna go back on him really quickly. Uh, what is the first line that I have to? At the beginning of his verse, he starts off with some really weak jabs. I hate that always rapping about you like you about to get the slaves freed. Like, what the fuck are you doing dissing Kendrick for rapping about real shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's such a whack line. It really backfires on him later. But you just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees. Uh, Meh. Um, let's see what do we got here. He started insulting his wife. He going really quickly. Um, he going in on his wife. He's like, all that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. I hate this line. What? Okay, I'm not trying to diss this song too much because in the moment this was all crazy, right? Everything he was saying in the moment, it was like, oh my god, he talking about Whitney. Oh my god, he talking about that. But in hindsight, now it looks stupid. But I feel the need to point out that it looks stupid in hindsight. But I have to tell you, I think this verse is fire. I think this verse is super enjoyable. I think his flow is great. I think he had a ton of fun. I think he killed it. So I'm not gonna hate on him for that aspect, but um, it's definitely not the craziest verse. Um, I hate the we could have left the kids out of this. Don't blame me, or why you never hold your son up and tell him say cheese. That's the line I don't like because as if Kendrick not posting his kid everywhere on social media means he's a bad dad. Because remember, Kendrick isolated his kid 100% from like the world. You isolated your kid until people found out, and then you pretended that that wasn't a thing. So don't be talking like that. Um, Fucking, I heard them one little kids might be Dave Freeze. That line is crazy, and I think it make a crazy implication about Kendrick's whole life and he and his like situation, um, but well, I don't want to dive into like the validity of the allegations yet, because in the moment it was like, huh? Wait, what? Huh? So in the moment I was sitting there like, what the fuck? And I feel like um he tries to paint a narrative about Kendrick here, right? And then both of these, the end of this beef really just ends up being about painting narratives. So I want to explain why the Drake narrative doesn't work, and then why the Kendrick narrative did work. But Drake's narrative here, going like your BM is your GM is your BM secret BD. It's like, okay, maybe. Um, Also, the fucking let that shorty breathe, shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees, shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free is fucking crazy. Uh, he do some more short jokes. Knew that it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade. Homie said, almost started reaching for my waist. Uh, where do we go from? Oh yeah, second beef. I don't even really want to talk about this second beef, because like, listen, I I get why he had felt the need to go at all these dudes on this track because there were so many people coming for his name. Like I don't blame him for hopping on the beat and being like, coming at ASAP, coming at the Weekend, coming out Metro, Pluto, coming at Rick Ross. I was just kind of like, no one cares. People want you and Kendrick, so what the fuck are you doing? And it's definitely my least favorite part of the song. It's definitely a very skippable moment. And also when it comes to like the impact of this diss track, this verse is a skip. So I don't really think we're gonna talk about it. Cause listen, I would love to talk about all the different beefs here, but really at the end of the day, most of it is not that interesting to me. I didn't even talk about like Champagne, whatever, the Rick Ross diss track that he made against Drake, because it's also mediocre. Um, so where we go from here? We can go to verse 3, where he go crazy. Um, well, he go crazy, but this is where he tries to complete his narrative, and we'll talk about it. Kendrick just opened his mouth, so I'm gonna go hand him a Grammy right now. And listen, I know y'all gonna post this bar so many times when he wins a Grammy for Not Like Us, but it not that deep. Come on. Uh, he says he called the Tupac estate and begged him to get that shit down. So that just ends up holding the same validity as saying like that had a cease and desist against it. They might both be lying. Who knows? And that's a lot of this beef is like who lying, who not lying. Um, I'm just like reading through the lines again. Um, um, a lot of this, I want to get to like the real shit because like a lot of this I want to mention, but then I'm also like, yeah, it's not that. A lot of these lines are not that interesting. I don't really like I mean, the we know why you went number one is clearly because of the boys kind of like, yeah, dissing Drake does get you a lot, but like that was a genuine hit too. Like people really liked that verse, so it's not all that. The part that I hate, this is where okay. So he goes in and he starts trying to paint a bit of a narrative of like you not you not a real, you're not authentically black, you're not authentically with like a, the black vision. Um you trying to whitewash yourself. You wish you were white, you're more like Michael Jackson because you want to be white, which is just a miscategorization of what was with Michael Jackson. Also, fuck the big three. It's only Big D, and there's video proof. It's just, I, I, why the fuck? Why the fuck did he say that? uh, where did we go from there? And then he paints the narrative of like your family's apart, you're away from your wife, um, you guys aren't gonna get married, you're not with the kids, you sleeping with white bitches, all your secrets are coming to light. And he like basically takes a whole like you completely, you whitewashed. And then he ends it with accusing, this is the big part, he accused Kendrick of beating his wife Whitney. So at the end of all of that, it's like, what the fuck? Where the fuck is this going? And most of the consensus in hip hop right after Family Matters dropped, because I remember reading Twitter right after it dropped, was like, oh man, dude, Kendrick need to spin it. Like he need to go. Like he need to drop. It's serious now. Like Drake kind of up. And then he did. Um, about 20 minutes afterwards. So Family Matters, if I had to, I'm always grateful that this moment went the way it went, because after Family Matters, I was like, interesting, interesting. Because, like, listen, this is my overall thing here. Family Matters came at, Kendrick for a lot of good things, but wasted a lot of time on targets that no one cared about. And tried to paint a narrative about Kendrick that not only feels kind of hypocritical coming from Drake, but is very, but doesn't really stick in the end. It doesn't really land, and it all kind of comes off as fake. So to a lot of extent, it's like, okay, really, what are we doing here on Family Matters? But you were waiting for the response. It was shocking. It was big allegations. It was crazy. And then Kendrick turned around and Meet the Grams. Now initially when this all went down, I was like, I didn't know really that what had happened was Drake dropped his Red Button diss track, his big song, and then Kendrick dropped his big song 20 minutes later. Like, I was like, there's no way that's exactly what happened. And that is exactly what happened. I didn't know if they had just agreed to both drop the songs on the same night or something like that, but nope, that's not what happened. um, First verse of Meet the Grams. And once this dropped, there's also this whole like the photo thing, because when 616 in LA had a photo of a glove, and people were like, what the fuck, what does that mean? And a lot of people looked at the glove and they looked at like, oh, OJ's conviction, I think, or also the Nicole Brown Simpson funeral, June 16th. So that was a connection there. But and also that 616 name, I remember like everybody was making all these crazy theories about what that name could mean and all the entendres from 616. um but when he dropped the Meet the Grams cover art, he revealed the whole image, and it had like prescription for Ozempic on it. All this uniform from like shows, this T-shirt from like a Drake T-shirt. What else did he feature in that moment, or in that cover art? Uh, it was bad. It was like, oh my god, he had a mole in his camp. Like, he fully had a mole in his camp. Um, And this mole didn't technically like leak any serious info to Kendrick. I mean, he leaked a photo from Drake's house and like his estate, which is crazy. And it's clear that Kendrick knew that Drake was coming out with Family Matters because he had all this ready to go. And the day after was really obvious he had known Family Matters was going to come out before it dropped, which just makes this defeat even crazier. But like, I didn't think fucking Kendrick was gonna get a mole in Drake's camp with the fucking leaked photos on the cover art of a song called Meet the Grams, a 6.5 minute diss track. So he, on this diss track, he write a verse to end. This is the most devastating diss track ever written. This song is fucking crazy. This first verse, I don't even want to get into it, where he like, I'm sorry, that man's your father, Adonis. He writing to Adonis and he telling Adonis like, your dad's a bitch. Your dad sucks. I'm sorry. You need some real influence in your life. It's crazy. Talking to someone's kid like that is crazy. I thought talking to someone's wife the way Drake did on Family Matters was crazy. But then Kendrick hop on a record and saying, yo, your father a bitch and I hate him and I'm sorry he's your dad. That, man, that's disrespectful and crazy. He even say he using Ozempic too, which is crazy because he said Rick Ross was using Ozempic on uh, Family Matters. Then he write to his mom. This is the craziest verse, and I feel like we need to actually dive into everything he accuses Drake of in this verse. He starts with saying your son taking advantage of your name and making money off of it. Um, Fucking your son. Wait, fuck. Where do we start? Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think people like him should die. Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in the cell for the rest of their lives. He hates black women, hypersexualize them with kinks of an info fetish, grew facial hair because he understood being a beard just fit him better. He got sex offenders on Hovio that he keep on a monthly allowance, and a child should never be compromised. We got to stop for a sec, okay? Um, Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in the cell for the rest of their lives. Once I heard that, I was like, holy shit, a whole ass predator. He a whole ass predator. That's crazy. And listen, the minute I heard this, I was like, because listen, I hate to say this, and this is I'm gonna talk about this point in the rest, and when we're kind of going over the beef a little more, but but the fact that these allegations can't place down, and I immediately believed it all. It was I was immediately like, there's I kind of believe that would be the case, but I was asking for evidence. I'm not just gonna believe allegations like that out of the blue. But initially, I was like, I was kind of like, I think there might be evidence behind this. Now, there wasn't really in the end, but we'll kind of get into that a little more later. Um, a child should never be. I love. Oh, he got sex offenders on OVO that he keep on a monthly allowance. Baca. A child should never be compromised, and he keeping his child around him, which I always felt. I was like, I agree with you on that one. Having a dude like Bacchanal Nice on your team, and then having your kid around them. That's how I feel about people in and this is exactly why I feel a type of way about that line on Family Matters where he say, why you never hold your son up and tell him say cheese. It's like Drake trying to come in and explain to Kendrick, yo, I'm a better dad than you because I post my kid on the internet and like promote my kid like that. I take pictures of him. It's like, you really think that makes you a better dad? Like, I think about that like this. If I was in the industry and I had a kid, I would never let my kid near these events or near other celebrities or near any of it because motherfuckers like Diddy exist in this industry. There's horrible people in this industry that do horrible things to kids. I would never let my kid in the industry. So, and that's exactly what he's saying with this. He's like, your kid should never be around these type of people. And I agree with him. I don't really know why Drake think that cool. And I don't think Drake know that he kind of a shit father for that. But that's just my take on that. Um he go full on here. Oh, he go fuck a rap battle. He should die so all of these women can live with a purpose. Um and we gotta raise our daughters knowing there's predators like him lurking. Oh my god, dude. And then he goes on to like he doesn't directly accuse Drake of sex trafficking, but he basically says like, you a part of this or you embrace it, which to me I'm kind of like, I don't think you actually know if he's really like fully a part of this or not, but I think he thinks he would be, which I kind of agree with him. After shit like Diddy comes out, I'm like, there's definitely some people in the industry doing some sick things like that, and I'm gonna be real with you, we'll explain why later in this video. Drake is a prime candidate. The embassy about to get raided too. It's hey LeBron, keep the family away. Hey Curry, keep the family away. Oh my god, dude. Then okay, this obviously we know what this is now, but this part, dear baby girl, I'm sorry that your father are not active inside your world. It took everybody a second after they heard that verse to realize. I had to like, I needed to process this for a minute or two because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that Drake might be hiding another child. That was the craziest scenario to me. Because to me, this beef went down, and I was like, there's no way this is going to be worse than Pusha T. There's no way it can be worse than Pusha T. Because, like, he revealed he had a kid. That was crazy. He somehow did it. And in this moment, it was like, oh my God, it was worse. It was an 11-year-old child. And a fucking deadbeat that should never say more life. Oh my God. You think Kendrick got mean on Euphoria. Then you think Drake got mean on Family Matters. And then Drake and Kendrick get like malicious he get evil on this song. It's some of the craziest shit I've ever heard in a diss track. He goes on this final verse to be like, this is all your fault. You should have not mentioned my family. Exactly why that I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney line was just so bad. Why you had to stoop so low to discredit some decent people. What's the he like counseling him on this verse. It's crazy. I suggest some ayahuasca or therapy's a lovely start, but I suggest some ayahuasca strip the ego from the bottom is crazy. And then ending the track on the fucking, why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in because you lied about religious views. You lied about your surgery, going through all that. Fuck a rap battle. That's a long life battle with yourself. That is the craziest end to a diss track by far of all time. That the delivery of the end of this, they all pussies. You lied on them. I know they all got you on them. This song is bone chilling and is so well done. His performance on this song is incredible. I really did not think a song like this could like exist. I'll be honest. It's like in performance, it's the most devastating diss track ever made. And in truth, no. Story of Adidon is a much more devastating diss track in the fact that it was a real kid, but in the moment it was crazy. Right afterwards, Drake denies the allegations that he has another kid, but he does not deny the allegations that he's a predator and a sex offender. And people were like, wait, why are you not denying that, dude? What's up? And then the next day, afternoon that day, people thought something might happen because Top Dog tweeted, "Psst, I see dead people," and here we are. Mustard on that beat, ho. This this song is a part of the beef I didn't think could happen. Because once Meet the Grams dropped, I was like, it's fucking over. He won. Like, listen, okay. Drake had this whole diss track, this whole music video of him crushing the van. He was ready to come out, drop that shit, go swinging. And then 20 minutes later, your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think people like him should die. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was unreal. It was like, I did not think that Kendrick would go that way. I didn't think he would do that. He didn't even give him 20 minutes. It was the craziest moment in hip hop history. I literally look up the reaction of people like, wait, Kendrick dropped daily because it's so funny. The Meet the Grams reactions are so entertaining, dude. That was just an unreal thing to listen to, dude. But Not Like Us, the cover art, he got sex offender pins on the OVO mansion, which is crazy. And then he got mustard on a beat. Oh, what? And what is the first line? Like he's like, calling ambulance, tell him breathe, bro. This song is so iconic now that it's like breaking down the lyrics is like, it's Not Like Us, dude. But I haven't talked about Not Like Us ever on this channel, so here we are. We can skip everything before. Say, Drake, I hear you like I'm young. And this is why Not Like Us has the impact it does. I didn't think he was gonna say that. I didn't think he was gonna go there. I knew he was gonna call him a pedophile. Actually, I knew he was gonna say that at least. But he go on to Ibaka got a weird case. Why is he around? Great line. Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop 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 wop. Dot fuck 'em up. Wop 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. I can't believe I lived through this moment where there's a mustard on the beat Kendrick Lamar song where he say Drake trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. I just never thought I'd live to see this moment. And he not done. That's verse 1. It's the craziest verse in terms of allegations by far. And listen, in the moment, like I said, for me, for many people, the idea of Drake being a pedophile was honestly not far-fetched. So we were like, maybe that's real. He go on for the rest of this verse to say, like, you think the Bay gonna let you disrespect Pac. I think that Oakland show gonna be your last stop. Which this moment is crazy, because getting mustard on the beat and making a West Coast style song, we see the impact it had later. But, like, that whole Get More Love in the City That You From line by Drake, him shouting out these West Coast people on Family Matters, it was like, holy fuck, I didn't think it could backfire more than, like, holy fuck. I like the did Cole foul, why you still pretending, like, that's how I've always felt. Kendrick started beef with Cole, and Cole ended the beef, and then Drake dissed Cole for ending the beef. Why are you starting beef with Cole? Y'all were friends. I never understood that, but it's because Drake is Drake. What's the line? The second verse doesn't have any crazy parts to it, except for the final part where when he locks this flow, and also fucked that Wayne girl while he was in jail, that's Canavin, then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. People have always been like, not that deep. So it may be not that deep. Alina, when he gets to the, yeah, it's all eyes on me and I'ma send it at the park. Put the wrong label on me, I'ma get him dropped. That's my favorite flow in, like, the whole beef. It's so good. Fucking roll they ass up like a fresh pack of za. Devil is alive. He is 69. God, it's just, it's beyond iconic already. But the final verse, crazy. The final verse, he look at Drake and he like, you want to call us some slaves? Listen here. You go to Atlanta every single time you want money. And he break down how he got all this attention from each Atlanta rapper, and then he ends it with, you're not a colleague, you a fucking colonizer, which is kind of one of Kendrick's biggest points throughout this whole beef. But we're not even really done with the beef yet. We still got other shit to talk about after this song. Um, and then also the line, the family matter and the truth of the matter, it's God's plan to show you all the liar. That's obvious that he at least had Family Matters early, or the night that Meet the Grams dropped, he was working hard on Not Like Us. Then we have this outro that's just like, oh my God. Freaky ass, he is 69 God. Hey, 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 run for your life. Let me hear you say, oh, ho. Yeah, no. It's crazy. Not Like Us is the craziest diss track in this whole beef, definitely for like what it is. Just being like a West Coast, you know, trap style hip hop banger by Kendrick Lamar that calling Drake a pedophile. It's just the context here is insane. And it was so popular when it came out. But the next thing right after this one, because really at the end of the day, we knew how big Not Like Us was in the moment, but we didn't know how big it was going to be long term. Drake pull out the Heart Part 6, right? So he's been accused of being a predator and a pedophile. He need to say something. He need to clear the air. What happened over the weekend was crazy. Everything was insane. He had to come out and be like, yo, let's clear the air about this. So he did. He come out on the Heart Part 6 saying we'll go through each point in this song because it gets bad. He calls himself a war general, and then he says, we plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. And then he's like, you know, basically his point was, I gave you a fake mole that told you all this fake information, and say like, tell him he has a daughter, you know, tell him, give him like a, you know, he even says like, we thought about giving a fake name or destination, but you so thirsty, you're not concerned with investigation, which is crazy because he didn't like, he didn't even try to do that. He didn't even try to make Kendrick look as dumb as he could. But really, when he said like, we fed all this information to Kendrick, I was looking at him like, you pulled that right off Twitter. Like, you did not. No, you did not do that. And I felt that way because on the night that Meet the Grams and Family Matters dropped, Drake did not say this. He did not say he fed him the info. He did not deny anything. And I just want to say that, like, in terms of what this beef was and everything around it, the moment that May 3rd was in that night, the moment that was so impactful that it's like, I don't even think Drake could really like Drake. I don't know why Drake would let Kendrick have the moment. It was such a big moment for Kendrick. And even if he fed him the information, he let him have that whole moment and waited till Sunday to disrupt it, not the day after. He didn't say anything when Not Like Us came out either. So it was kind of like, gang, I don't know if that's the case. I don't think you fed him anything. Most of the stuff on that t-shirt, it was not really, you know, I'm petty with dedication is crazy when what Kendrick just said about you. I also, this is one of the dumbest things he does in the song because listen, he says, you got, you know, you not with your wife. Dave Freeze with your wife right now. He's the mother of your kid. You being played. And he come up with his evidence in the song, and he says, why isn't Whitney denying the allegations? Why is she following Dave Free and not Mr. Morale? As if like Whitney or Kendrick seem to use social media and following whoever means anything to them. I think it's crazy that you think that a wife would need to follow someone's celebrity account if they're married. Or not married, you know, they're not technically married, but they're basically, you know, come on. Why on earth would Whitney be following Kendrick? She know him in real life. She can text him. It's like how when there's one interview where they're like asking Eminem, or they're asking 50 Cent, like, are you bugged by the fact that Eminem doesn't follow you on Instagram? And he's like, no, I can call him. Like, and we always do this shit with celebrities. We're always like, oh, this celebrity said, like this thing about this other celebrity, or this celebrity's not following this other celebrity. They're not friends. And it's like, no, they probably text. They probably communicate in real life like normal friends. They're not weird like us. Dave leaving emoji hearts underneath pics of the child. It's like, what? That's your evidence that the kid is Dave Freeze? That's his evidence, by the way. He made the cover art, the Instagram comment, which is just like, what? That's the really, because of a comment of a black heart. That's the evidence you got that Dave Free is the dad here. This Epstein angle is the shit I expected. Why the fuck did you compare yourself to Jeffrey Epstein? Why the fuck did you do that? We gotta talk. We're gonna talk about this verse because it's bad. It's really bad. When I said Taylor Made Freestyle was the worst diss track in this beef, it's not. It's the Heart Bar 6. This verse is fucking horrible. Um, uh, he says like you got this all from TikTok. Oh, actually, we're not at the really dumb lines from it, but we are at like the dumbest part actually. My mother came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second. That's the one record where you say you got molested. Ah, fuck me. I just made a whole confession. And then he's like, you only talking about me. Um, he's like saying like, this is why you confusing me with a pedophile. This is why you saying I'm a predator because you were fucked with as a kid. Is like, listen, not only is that not true, right? Not only is that not what Mother I Sober about, it's about uh, Kendrick's mother thinking that Kendrick went through abuse because of how he went through abuse with how his fuck. Kendrick's mother thought Kendrick went through abuse because Kendrick's mother went through her own abuse, um, and she felt that he must have been abused. Um, so not only is that not what it's not what so it's not what the song's about, right? He did not get molested. That's not what Mother I Sober is about. So the worst part about this line is Drake's reading comprehension, just not being able to understand what a song's about. But even without the like reading comprehension problem here, um the fact that that he hopped on a song and he dissed Kendrick for being molested, that was crazy to me in the moment. Even though that's not what the line was. When I first heard that, I was like, dude, I think I don't fuck with that. Like, I think that's kind of fucked up, dude. Like, even if it was true that that was the situation and that he had been molested, it's like that's not a good diss. That'd be a great reason to beef with you if you showing signs of being a pedophile and he's like, I'm gonna call you out on it because I've been a victim of pedophilia. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I don't really know why he say that, but um, uh, and some people were like, oh, it's justified. Meet the Grams. He didn't. He went so far on that one. Why would the line in the Heart Part 6 be too far? Because he's wrong, and it's a bad point. If it's a point, because it's not a point, but if it were a point, he would be wrong about it. So it's two layers bad. Fucking just to clarify, I feel I'm disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. As if someone could be too famous to be exposed for something like that. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested. What the fuck are you talking about? Um, it sucks that this is his point against it. Like this is the only way that he can look at the world and be like, I'm not a pedophile, right? Because he can't be like, go through all of my relationships, go through all my history. I've never been with underage girls. It's not a thing. Then I mean, he says that. He says I never been with no one underage, and it's like that's not true, gang. You've been with underage girls. Not you. You not been romantically publicly with underage girls, but you've had inappropriate relationships with minors, and you've had several public relationships with 18-year-olds. So we know that's the case. Um, it's it's crazy. He tries to spin it into like a you and insane. Um, and he also says like Drake, no name you gonna see on a sex offender list. He does this whole you got beat. You mentioned an A minor, but people got a B sharp. It's such a it's a bad line, um, because the D major line is supposed to be D major, and it's like no one not only does no one call you D, but you ain't make him. That's not a point in this beef. No one ever said that was the case, anyways. Are we done with all the dumb lines in this song? Oh yeah, only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never looked no twice at no teenager. Um, um, he like, listen, I don't know why you bringing up Whitney, or not Whitney. I don't know why you bringing up Millie Bobby. I know the narrative existed before this, but like, maybe just don't mention her. I don't know why you would bring her up if you feel that way. And then I never looked twice at no teenager. We got a video of you on stage doing differently. Um, yeah, and then he does the whole like it was good to get the pen working, you know. Also, the you still bumping R. Kelly, um, is like if you actually look into what happened in the moment of like Kendrick protesting, you know, for free speech because they wanted to remove music like XXXTentacion and R. Kelly. That's the main reason he threatened to remove his music. It was a protection of freedom of speech more than anything. Because truthfully, yeah, our people's art shouldn't be removed because of their actions in real life. And I understand why he finds that to be a dangerous road to take, especially for a possibility of white artists taking crimes that black musicians have done and getting rid of their music because of it. I understand why Kendrick takes problem with that. So I don't understand why he tried to make that a point. I mean, I do understand because he took everything he could to try and make Kendrick look stupid, but this diss track didn't need no response. We didn't need to say anything. Kendrick had to say nothing. This diss track looks so stupid the second it dropped. Going public after you've been accused of being a pedophile and saying I'm too famous for that and acting like you so above it. Um, Especially with the behavior that Drake has, just looked so bad in the moment, and everyone was like, "Dude, that's not no. What the fuck are you talking about?" Um, Overall, it was just like it was a bad moment for Drake. He shouldn't have done. I mean, I understand why he did it because when you're accused of being a pedophile and a predator, you have to say something. But in the moment, I was like, "Damn, you might as well not have said something because that was rough." Um, Overall, it's a rough moment in this beef. You know, it was not a victory for Drake, but you know that's what happens. After this, it was all just kind of a matter of like no one's posting evidence, no one's coming forward or saying anything. There was the BBL Drizzy thing, so that was big. So pretty quickly afterwards, we were like, okay, I don't think Kendrick beats his wife. I don't think Dave Freeze the kid's dad, and I don't think that Drake has another kid. Nor do I think Drake has is there evidence that he's been with underage girls, you know, sexually or romantically or anything. And nor do I think like he he a predator or anything. But that being said, this was all just because no evidence was put forward. But the big thing that happened in the coming weeks after this, and I need to talk about it because to me it's not the most devastating part of this beef, right? Because like to me, if I was Drake, the part that would be most devastating to me would be Meet the Grams, because Meet the Grams, um, but not like us. I think takes the cake simply for the amount of commercial success it had. Because the day after this song dropped, it immediately beat Drake's record on God's Plan for the most streams in a debut day, I think it was. Or I think it beat Girls Want Girls for the most streams in one day for a rap song, which is crazy. Like Drake being the king of records, now Kendrick coming out with a diss track about Drake and calling him a pedophile that is so successful that it beats those records. Crazy shit. Um, and in the coming days, it racked up so many streams. It went number one, and Euphoria went number three, while Family Matters made it to like seven. And just the general commercial success Kendrick had after this beef, I can't imagine how much that hurt for Drake because he really figured out that this moment was about killing him and putting Kendrick on a different pedestal. And then there was more in the coming months, you know, with Drake on his story post and shit. Um, but the big thing in the long run, you know, he did the pop out show, which was incredible, an incredible moment, and then he did the music video, and Not Like Us just after that became such a huge moment for the West Coast, um, and such an entertaining moment in hip hop, a moment I never thought I would see, you know, where Kendrick transformed this whole beef into a Toronto versus LA thing, and he fully took it there, um, and I think so. Who do I think won? Obviously Kendrick. I think it's really hard to argue Drake won. I know some people try to, but I think on every level, it's really hard to say that Kendrick didn't really write Drake into a huge box. And I don't think Drake was ever gonna win. I think there's like especially when you're going against a dude like Kendrick, who's just as formulaic and as skilled as Kendrick. There's not really a lot of like, there's not a lot Drake could have done. He did his best, I think, but he was uncoordinated. He made several points that he could not stand on. And overall, it just ended up being there was a level of messiness Drake was with everything that Kendrick really wasn't. Um, I think overall it was a pretty clear victory by Kendrick, just mostly for Meet the Grams and Not Like Us being the nature that they are. Um, but the big thing I think that made this beef such a victory to Kendrick, because the thing is Kendrick lied. Well, not lied, but to me, making allegations without evidence. And listen, I'm not saying Kendrick doesn't have evidence, maybe somewhere else under the rug, whatever. I don't think though. But honestly, until he reveals that, I'm not gonna pretend he does. That doesn't make sense for me to be like, oh, I think he has evidence, because like I don't fucking know. I don't know Kendrick. I don't know what he's doing. So it's entirely possible he lied 100%. So when I'm looking at this beef and I'm looking at the outcome of it, I'm kind of like, um, you know, why in the moment was everything Kendrick said about Drake so much more effective than everything Drake said about Kendrick? And it all has to do with the previous existing public persona. Kendrick says in this beef, like, I'm what the culture feeling. They love me, not you. I'm the one with the record. I'm the one they love. You, not the one they love. And obviously that was really obvious really fast, but it was proved so thoroughly by the fact that when allegations were made against both person, Drake comes out and he says, "You beat women and your kid is not actually yours." And people are like, "Where's the evidence?" He doesn't say any. And there's no real pattern and there's no real way to put evidence down on the day free thing. So most people are just kind of like, "Okay, until you prove it, we don't really believe it." And then for the what's the other, I'm stupid. The wife beating allegation, it was like, well, there's no evidence that Kendrick has a record of this, so there was really no reason to assume it the second it happened, and that allegation came out. When Kendrick spun around and said, "What? How did he?" Um, when Kendrick spun around and made the allegations about Drake that he did, that he had another daughter, that he was a pedophile and a pedophile and a predator, it most people immediately believed that. I mean, not immediately believed that, but they didn't shut it down immediately. They weren't skeptical immediately. And I think it just shows you enough of the public persona that the fact is that when that someone got called a pedophile publicly, and many people were like, "I've been waiting for you to say that," because it's really hard to. I listen. It's already happened to Drake once that his kid was revealed, so that's the reason why people believed that initially, or at least it was believable at first. And then the other allegation, uh stupid, the pedophile allegation was like, oh, you actually do have uncomfortable relationships with minors in your existence, so you can't really be like, no, I've never been with underage girls. It was really hard for him to write himself out of it. So I think really what this beef ends up being all about is it's about public image. It's about two rappers putting everything on the line for a big show and a lot of entertainment, but a show and entertainment that turned out to be way more vicious than we thought it was going to be. Um, the long-term implications of this beef really are, at the end of the day, I'm not one to be like, I'm not one of the people right now saying Drake fell off, mostly because I don't really think we'll know if Drake fell off until Drake puts out more music. But I will say Not Like Us is the song of the year, and that's crazy. The music video was incredible too. And also Watch the Party Die wasn't really part of this beef, so we're not gonna talk about it, but it was a great song. Um, Overall, it's just like, why do I think this happened? Because really at the beginning of this beef, Kendrick started at what seemed to be out of nowhere. Really what I think started this, other than just, I think it was for all the dogs overall. I think there were some things about Future on that record that Future didn't fuck with. I knew Ricker had beef because of the Friend Montana shit, but I know Kendrick developed beef. I think from First Person Shooter. The theory is that like he was gonna feature on it and then he decided not to. Some people say he was on some Control shit. I don't really know if any of that's the case, but what I do think is definitely the case is I think I think Kendrick um I think Kendrick at least heard the We the Big Three, like we started the league, um, because he was like, I'm not comparable to you guys. I'm a different breed than you guys. And the big comparison was between him and Drake, but there was a comparison between him and Cole. Um, Overall, I think this whole beef just shows the evidence of like the fact of the matter being the culture would rather a rapper who's saying real shit. The culture would rather a rapper who is, fully dedicated to artistic craft, isn't posting on social media all the time, keeps it rap music, keeps it real. People are gonna rather Kendrick than Drake when it comes down to it. They might rather Drake on a simple I want to bop my head and shit, but when it comes to the real shit and it's all the attention on these records, Drake or Kendrick can kind of look at it and be like, I'm gonna say what the fuck I want on this. Um, and it was crazy. It was definitive. It was amazing. It was a vicious moment in hip hop, and it was an incredible moment in hip hop. But it's not. It's weird because it's not like a new thing anymore. It really just it happened, and it now like there's just crazy tension in hip hop. I thought more beefs were gonna happen after this one, but nothing really spiraled out of it. But it's an unbelievable fact that this happened. I've always wanted this. I've always thought this was would be a crazy, you know, escalation and a crazy beef, but I didn't think it would ever happen, and it really did happen. Um, I don't really think Drake fell off. I don't really know if I think Kendrick is much. I think Kendrick's a lot bigger now because of it. I think when it comes to a new record, I think there's so many eyes on Kendrick at the moment that it's going to be so popular immediately. I think he could pull a whole other number one hit before the year's over if he tries. I feel like there's more I could talk about in relation to this beef. I will say, um, what was Kendrick's point? Maybe would be my last thing I'll talk about because there's obviously a bigger message here. There's obviously a bigger intention from Kendrick. It's obviously not just him like I want to get at Drake because I hate him. Because there's a big why. There's a why like I came at you so harshly, and I think his biggest reasoning to come at Drake at this aspect was the main I would say it's because of I would say it's a lot of things. But his main point at the end of the beef seems to kind of be like um other than you a freak, you a weirdo, being like you not centered in any morals, you not centered in anything real, you just centered in money and attention, and I'm centered in culture, religion, family, and art. And that's very true. It proved that sentence proves itself in every aspect of this beef. That's why it ends up being such an entertaining back and forth because at every moment Kendrick makes a claim and it ends up kind of coming true to an extent. So I think Kendrick unbelievable for that. Um, but I think because like at the end of this beef, he fully takes it to like the pedophile thing, and the big question to a lot of people, to me, is like, did Kendrick lie? Because listen, did Drake lie? Yeah, Drake lied. I really don't think the kid is Dave Freeze. You've seen that clip and Not Like Us. You've seen how Kendrick looks next to his kid. That looks like his kid. And he dancing with Whitney on there. I think that's enough for Whitney denying the allegations, especially when Whitney was at the Pop Out show. So, it was obvious in that moment, that Drake lied. But did Kendrick lie? At this moment, I have to say he lied, specifically about the daughter thing, because that was the most adverse, straightforward thing. The other things he said you can kind of say are true, but not to an 100% extent. They're kind of weird, but they're kind of foggy. They're in a gray area. But the daughter thing was so um was definitely a lie. I think his point was more to prove that he could say that and everybody would believe him. But then again, it is also a lie. But I think he was also trying to upstage Drake. So I don't know if it's justified. I think it's a moral flaw for Kendrick to be so focused, like in a record like Mr. Morale, be so focused on honesty and truth and then lie in a rap beef. Like it's kind of like, man, I think you above that, but that's just me. I think you above winning a beef over that. But um I think his bigger point overall, because the thing is he calls Drake a pedophile, And initially speaking, a lot of people are like, well, where's the evidence? And the interesting part is if you do the research and you look into it, it's not a where's the evidence situation. It's a um there is evidence. There's not evidence saying like Drake had relationships with like underage women, but there's several examples of him being with women before they turn 18 and then once they turn 18 getting into public relationships with them. um and generally speaking, he's been very comfortable with age gaps of him being like 36 and the other person being like 19 or 20. He's had some incredibly strange relationships in that regard. There's also the whole Millie Bobby Brown thing, which is really unfortunate when people are like, he was just mentoring him and he was just friends with him. Like, no, this dude was she was talking about getting dating advice from him and talking about boys and talking all day and saying I love you to each other. This shit was weird. And really, at the end of the day, most of the point that Kendrick make about Drake is he weird. And I hate to say this, but when the person you trying to defend from pedophilia, you have to be like, oh well, he was on stage with a 17-year-old kissing her when he was like 22. Now I understand that that was quite a long time ago. It's not as crazy. Honestly, it doesn't bug me as much as the examples of him meeting women when they're in high school and then getting back with them when they're like 18. Obviously, I think those examples are a lot weirder because when those happened, he was like 36. But when this happened, he was like 22. Regardless, though, um, what he said at that show was crazy. It was so weird. He was like, "You 17? Why you look like that?" It was so. He was like, "I love the way your breasts feel against my chest." He says some insane shit about that woman, and it was so weird. He's such a creep in that video, and the bigger point I'm saying here is like, really at the end of the day, when we're trying to defend a rapper, and I hate that I'm at the point now where I'm like, is Drake a pedophile? But when we're trying to defend a rapper and we got clips like that on the record, we got relationships like the one like Millie Bobby Brown and like Madison Beer and like there's some other really weird examples of Drake with underage girls. I know there's a Twitter thread on it, but I can't see it. I don't know where it is. There's a Sean C video where he goes through all of it. That's pretty informative that I liked for that. That being said, um, the bigger point Kendrick's trying to make is it's about culture, it's about art, and it ends up being a huge message on the industry and like corporatism versus artisticness, and like what's the meaning behind all of that. I think this beef tells a lot about hip hop. I think it was a massive moment in hip hop. Um, and yeah, I really think it's gonna be hard to see a more historic moment in this genre. But good times. I think I'm done with this topic. Maybe I'll probably talk about it a little more and make more points about it later. But maybe I'll hop on Twitter and make some points about it too. I don't know. I'll keep talking about it. And as more updates come out, we'll keep talking about it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. That was an hour and 20 minutes long, but like I felt the need to do a podcast length video talking about that. There's so much to dissect there. And yeah, I feel like I covered everything. There's definitely some stuff I probably didn't get to, so let me know if there's anything you want specifics on. I'll reply to comments about it. But yeah, I don't know what the next video is. I'll probably review Tyler's new record, but I probably wanna listen a few times before I drop a whole video talking about it. So we'll get to that. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye bye.